You are listening to Single Smart Female.
This is us letting it all hang out about your love life, examining Steph's dating experiences, and answering your hot topic dating questions. Just you, Steph, and me. No topic is off limits and no filters involved. This is Jen.
And I'm Steph. If you have a question about your love life that you would like us to answer, you can submit your question at singlesmartfemale.com. Hello, and welcome to show 17 of Single Smart Female. This is Steph, and I'm joined by the lovely, amazing, and talented Miss Jen.
Hey, ladies. How's it going?
We're just going to go ahead and get started on our question for today. This question comes from a 27-year-old lady in Florida,
which we will call our sweet Florida Orange.
Yes, sweet Florida Orange. What is your question? She writes, how do you remain confident when facing rejection and when guys go MIA? This is what normally makes me give online dating up for a while because the negative feelings take a toll on me. I feel like I'm very confident in other areas of my life, but I have to majorly fake it with dating. Dating or talking to more than one guy at a time definitely helps, but how do you get through the times when no one is beating down the door to talk to you?
Do you mind if I start today, Steph?
Go for it, Jen.
Well, first off, sweet Florida Orange, I am really excited to hear that you are mantourage dating or dating more than one man at a time. And there are several things I want to talk to you about because I think this is a absolutely valid and fantastic question at the same time. But before I dive into your question, Steph and I at Have Him Your Way, we teach women to be adored women. So I want to start today with the 3 tenets of the adored women. Number 1, above all, an adored woman knows that the universe or her higher power has her back romantically. Number 2, she understands that everything going on with him or in her love life is 100% about figuring out what she really wants. It's a romantic opportunity. And number 3, she also knows that if something doesn't work out with a particular man, it is because the universe or her higher power is working madly behind the scenes to bring her true love into her life. With that said, first off, like I already mentioned, I want to commend you for mantourage dating. It takes a fierce and confident woman, regardless of how you feel in the moment, to actually take on mantourage dating. But it is one of the most brilliant decisions that you can ever make. And 2, I'm very excited to hear that you are online dating. So let's do a couple of things. I want to give you some tools for specifically diving into those moments of fear and frustration and lack of confidence when nobody is beating down your door, because you're right. When you're mantourage dating, one of the reasons I love mantourage dating, it's fine when somebody's contacting you. It's exciting when you have somebody new to talk to or something is developing. But yes, it can be quite frightening and very lonely when nobody is doing that. So one of the things I want you to learn to do, and I want all of my lovely ladies to learn to do, and this is what I did when I started my magical dating experiences in 2006, is I want you to get grateful and grounded during those times when nothing is going on. So I've mentioned on this podcast as well as on my Fairy Dust TV episodes that when I was dating my husband, sometimes he would go MIA for 5 weeks at a time. I could have let that drive me crazy. And a lot of times, because I was focusing on my mantourage, it wasn't an issue. But there were times when there weren't tons of men beating down or calling. I would have those periods of time where it was very quiet. And I had to learn to get okay with it being quiet at times. Because I'm going to tell you something. Not only is it okay for it to be quiet sometimes, and you'll appreciate that quiet, especially before if you don't have a family yet, and then you have chaos going on all the time between managing a family, managing if you're heading into a high power career, if you're already having one, but managing all those different pieces at the same time, you're going to really appreciate that downtime. So be okay with it. Be grateful for it. Be grateful. I used to write grateful lists for why things weren't happening. So I'd get grateful for the fact that my husband wasn't contacting me in that moment. I get grateful for things not working out. I believed in the 3 tenets of the adored woman so much that when I would start to feel insecure, I would lean into those 3 tenets and get grateful for these guys not beating down the door and enjoy my downtime. Because remember, it's very possible for things to start getting very chaotic and a lot to manage. So appreciate those times and always schedule those times as well. And that's another thing is if you start scheduling those times, then you'll be accustomed to if they come up. But when you're scheduling them, the times that they come up on their own will actually start to happen less frequently. It's almost like you're saying to the universe, you're saying to your higher power, hey, you know what? This is actually a good idea. So I'm going to take it on myself instead of waiting for it to happen.
That's great advice, Jen. I would actually like to kind of build off of that. The grateful list is huge. It makes such a difference in your life. And another type of list that Jen has recommended in the past for a lot of her lovely ladies is to make a list of 30 things that make you interesting. This is really great because most of us women don't take the time to consider what makes us amazing. And we forget that there are a lot of really cool, fun, and interesting things about us. Okay, so here's an example of a few things that are interesting about me. I've been skydiving in Hawaii, and when I jumped out of the plane, I saw a rainbow, a circular rainbow from jumping outside of a plane.
That's fucking awesome. I didn't know that about you, Steph. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's an old story that I haven't told in a long time, actually. But I am really good at arranging flowers, and I worked for an event floral company for a little while there. I'm amazing at craft cocktails, and I have a passion for those as well. And the list goes on. I could list 30. We're not going to list 30 amazing things about me right now. But to give you an idea of, you have to remember that you are interesting. You have hobbies. You have things that make you who you are. And when you put them down on paper, you're like, oh yeah, shit, I'm pretty cool. And I have shit to talk about.
And shit to do. Which brings me to my final thing that I want to give to you today. And that is, in these moments, if you're still feeling extremely lonely, if you're still feeling extremely doubtful, I want you to take Steph's suggestion, make that list, make your grateful list, but I also want you to look for something that you've always wanted to do, a new and exciting opportunity, hobby that you can take on. And if you can't think of anything in that genre, then I want you to actually look for a great volunteer opportunity so you can take your attention from your dating life onto something else. Because as much as I love talking about dating, romance, love, magical experiences and all of this, none of that matters if you don't have a life outside of the romance, because that's what you build romance up. When you make yourself fascinating, you become irresistible to men, and you can not only appreciate those downtime, you'll be able to manage them even better, and you'll have to schedule them because you'll be so fascinating and having so much fun in your life that you will be this gigantic magnet for amazing and fascinating men.
Jen, before we wrap it up, there is one more piece I'd like to add for our sweet Florida orange.
Absolutely.
Okay, now this is not for the faint of heart, but once you get used to it, it can really help your confidence. Start going out by yourself. I did this when I first moved to a new city all by myself. I didn't have any friends yet. I knew no one. And I was either going to go out by myself or I wasn't going to go out at all. And turns out that worked very much in my favor. Number one, I got very comfortable with being by myself. And you can start simple, maybe go to the movies. So then you don't actually have to talk to anybody. You have something to do, something to watch. Same thing, go see live music. Eventually, go to a restaurant by yourself. Go to a bar by yourself. Sit at the bar if you want somebody to talk to you. Most of the time, a woman sitting alone at a bar doesn't sit alone very long. And you kind of build your conversational skills and your dating skills just by meeting and talking to other people. And by doing this also, that means don't discount the men that you're not interested in. Because I'll tell you what, older gentlemen, like much older gentlemen, they love me. They flirt with me all the time. And you know what? I love them too. We're not going on dates. We're not like making out at the bar. I'm just talking to them and enjoying them, and they enjoy me. And it builds my confidence, and it builds my conversation skills, and then helps me to be confident in all of my dating adventures.
That's an excellent point. The one thing I do want to add to that, Steph, and by the way, that was a brilliant suggestion, is I don't want anyone to discount the opportunity of dating an older man, because there are a lot of older men out there that will rock your fucking world more than any guy around your age ever could, because they have experience. They have experience on treating women well. They have experience on romance and courting and wooing and all those great things, plus life experience that will blow your mind.
Today's episode is brought to you by Make Him Want You Again online class. If you would like to learn exactly what to do, say, or text to make yourself irresistible and unforgettable in his mind, meet us over at makehimwantyouagain.com.
Okay, single lady, for today's show, we have decided to do a brand new segment called The Top 8 Worst Places to Go on a First Date for Adored Women. Now, I've just been informed that there might be some debate in this, so I'm very excited about this segment. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. I think I'm ready too. I think, maybe. Let's see. Number 1, the movies.
So here's the thing about the movies. I love the movies. I love going to the movies, and I love it for a date with somebody that you've been on several other dates with. But for a first date, hell to the no.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah. What? You're just going to sit next to each other and not talk for 2 hours. And unless you want to give him, a couple extra hours of your time, having first just met this person and maybe discuss the movie afterwards, I don't see a point. How do you get to know somebody by sitting and watching a movie?
You don't. I do think, though, maybe you could expedite the whole movie date process, though, if maybe both of you are super fans of a certain type of movie. That's the only thing that comes to mind. Otherwise, I agree with you, Steph. It is the worst idea for a first date ever.
Ever.
Okay, number 2. His house.
Duh. Okay, there's so many reasons why this is a bad idea.
Super bad idea. But a lot of women do it anyways.
Okay, well, first of all, you don't know this guy, right? It's your first date. You don't know him. So let's not go to the place where he feels most comfortable being whatever he may be. If he's a murderer, he's comfortable at home. You just made it real fucking easy.
Well, I wasn't going to take the murderer spin, but thanks, Steph. We are concerned about your safety, of course. I actually am more concerned about the fact that I know most of the women that come to me, they're not interested in starting everything off on a sexual note. They would like to be courted, wooed, adored. And not to say that you can't start out on a sexual note, but if that's not you, you shouldn't be starting at his place, hanging out at his place. That whole hangout phrase is bullshit, and it's a great way for you to set up a different expectation.
Yes.
Yeah, you are going to, unfortunately, no matter how respectful the guy is, there's going to be a huge chance he's getting in your pants that night. And if that's not the expectation you want to set up, I wouldn't start at his place.
Wait. I'm sorry. This just cracks me up so much. I have to share this story. And this is very true of most men. or anyone really who invites you to their house as their first option, you think that sex is on the table or something along those lines, right? But I have a guy friend whom I adore that would tell me that these girls, like, I take these girls out on dates and then they're like, let's go back to your place. So we go back to my place and all they want to do is have sex. Like, they want to jump into bed right away. I'm like, bitch, I just met you. I'm like, why are you taking them back to your house?
So that goes for men too.
Yeah. Yes. So, like, even if you have the most innocent of intentions, somebody is assuming sex is on the table.
Yes, when there's a home involved.
Correct.
Number 3, your favorite restaurant, bar, or your favorite anything.
Oh, yes. Don't take somebody that you're not sure is going to be a part of your life forever to places that you frequent, because then they start to show up at those places when they're hoping to run into you.
And remember, you're building your mantourage. You don't want all of the men in your mantourage showing up at the same time because it becomes a very uncomfortable situation. It sounds kind of exciting and fun for some women, but most of the time it just becomes a big pain in the ass. So keep your men that you have not decided that you're going to be seeing long term, when you're just starting to know them, don't take them to all your favorite places so that they're going to show up looking for you.
Agreed.
Number 4, any place where all you can do is sit and talk. This is such a hard place to start romance. Now, yes, I know many of you have gone out on dates where you are at a restaurant and that's all you're doing and things have gone really, really well. I don't recommend this. Why? Because I think we as functioning, nervous human beings need something to do while our brain engages in what we need to say. And when we have that something to do that's not super attention centric, then it makes a man, maybe a man who's really blown away by your beauty, less nervous, or it gives you something to do as well, something else to focus on, so that chemistry is much more possible.
So I agree with the point that you're making about not having anything else to do but sit and talk, because that can get very awkward. But I do disagree on the restaurant first date, mostly because I've had a lot of really amazing first dates at restaurants, because I love interesting food, and these interesting men take me to interesting restaurants where we eat interesting food and talk about it and just like moan over food.
Okay, if you're good at that, I think that's great. I'm going to say that you would, in my opinion, need to add something after that, because I don't want women getting stuck with, especially if they're meeting these men offline. These men are great online, but then they get nervous and they have nothing to do as well. Whereas if you were to eat something and then, let's say, go for a walk in a nice park or something a little bit more fun, or at a carnival afterwards, then those men get the opportunity to warm up if they've been extremely awkward. I've seen too many women, Steph, really discount great guys because the guys got awkward on that first date and they're like, oh, we don't have any chemistry. Oh, we just had nothing to talk about. Blah, 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 blah. And it fucking drives me nuts. These are amazing men, and they don't get a break from a lot of women just because they got nervous. Well, fuck, we all get nervous. I get nervous recording this podcast. We need something to do sometimes.
I never get nervous. I don't know what you're talking about, Jen.
You are so full of shit, Steph. Okay, number 5. I actually think that this is a super cool date idea in general, but not for a first date.
Not for a first date.
A drive-in movie.
Correct. This falls into the movie category as well as the drive-in movie. That's like Makeout Central.
Yes. Steph, did I ever tell you about the heart surgeon I went out with that one time? We actually went, it wasn't a drive-in movie, but we went to a movie and he was basically sucking my face the whole time and I couldn't get him off of me for a while. And I was like, I really liked the guy and was interested in getting to know him, but all he wanted to do was make out heavily in front of everybody. And then I realized I was really young at the time too, so I'm kind of embarrassed now that I'm recounting this story on our podcast.
Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed.
But nothing ever came of it. And I'm glad, because he was very, very strange. And movies in general, whether it's a drive-in movie or not, a good idea. Plus, you have that whole sexual component.
Exactly. Actually, Jen, I do have a question for you. Okay, so he was basically sucking your face off. I have a thing about kissing, and some people do like this weird, I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it weird. Was he like trying to swallow your face?
He was trying to swallow my face. He was trying to swallow, I think he was trying to swallow my whole body, because...
It's so uncomfortable. And then you like pull back and he pushes forward, and you pull back and he pushes forward.
And I'd only met the guy one time before, and I didn't have any good boundaries at the time to tell him to stop.
So you're just like, this is a lot.
He's a heart surgeon. I should just go with this. No.
It's interesting. A heart surgeon. A man who spends so much time around hearts, and all he wants to do is swallow your face. It's such a waste.
Number 6. I might get a lot of hate mail for this next one, but I'm going to call you ladies out on it because it's one of the most boring, fucking mundane dates out there, and it lacks imagination and it lacks romantic potential. The coffee date.
Oh, the coffee date. Again, this one requires somebody to perform for someone else. You're basically like, be interesting because I've got nothing else going on right here.
I know a lot of women are going out on coffee dates because they're meeting guys online, and a lot of guys, what they're doing is requesting coffee dates so each of the parties can assess chemistry really quickly and then move on if the chemistry's not there instantaneously. Bad idea. I won't say that it never works out, because it does. It does work out, but it works out far less than you're hoping for. And if you're letting a guy play the numbers game with you, then you are letting him take you on his journey instead of taking him on your journey. And we're adored women. We invite men on our journey because we have amazing lives as well. It's not about everything that men want.
Yes. And look, with the coffee date, I understand the perspective of the man on this one. Like, if you're trying to date and you want to get to know multiple women, it gets expensive. But there are things that you can do that are just as inexpensive as a coffee date that are not so fucking boring. And if you suggest something more interesting, then you stand out amongst the sea of online ladies that this guy is taking to the same damn coffee shop. Actually, this brings me back to another friend of mine, a male friend, who would take all of his online dates to the same coffee shop, the one that he would frequent all the time. He knew the names of the waitresses and waiters at the coffee shop.
You're fucking kidding me,
and
right?
No, I am not kidding you. And I'm like, dude, this is such a bad idea.
It's a bad idea on so many levels. So don't let men do that. You don't have to. If he suggests a coffee date, you suggest something else. If he doesn't like the idea, say, okay, well, that's fine. It's not something I'm interested in doing. And if at some point you change your mind, do let me know. Ladies, also feel free to spend longer time online getting to know a person than just jetting off just because he says he needs to meet you right away. You are more than welcome, and we can help you do this with helpmeonlinedate.com. We'll give you the first 2 chapters of our online dating program for free. You are more than welcome to take this at your online dating pace and not just his. Number 7. Número 6. No, not 6. 7. My Spanish is fleeing me.
I think your Spanish was correct at first. I think you did say 7.
I did.
First.
And then I said 6. And then I don't know where I'm going with all this. Anyways, let's talk
Look,
about...
Jen's Spanish is great. It's very good. Don't let her fool you.
It's pretty decent at times on the right day. Not today. Number 7. Any place that you hate. I'm going to bring up Steph's experience. So she's going to bring up a specific experience. And it's very important. We stop going just because a guy suggests a place and he gets all excited about it. If you fucking hate that kind of place, don't go there. Ever. Not ever. I'm just kidding about ever. But not for a first date.
Yeah, not for a first date. And, this one, I felt so bad about this one. I actually didn't know that I hated it until I got there. But a wonderful young gentleman took me on a date to go-kart racing. And
which I love, by the way. That would be an awesome first date for me.
see, there you go. Like, so subjective,
Yes.
right? So I get in that damn go-kart and I wanted to die. I hated every minute of it. People were whizzing by me. I was afraid I was going to get hit and spin out. And I didn't have control of this fucking vehicle. I don't drive well in real life, okay? I don't want to be on a little track with a bunch of like souped up dudes. No fucking thank you. And it was for my birthday. It was supposed to be like this really fun, cool event. And I was like, I got through one round and I started shaking and I was like, please take me somewhere else. We have to leave. Please, can we go? And, you know, he was very, very sweet about it. But if you know you don't like it, definitely don't do it.
Don't do it. That's the key point here. I love things like adrenaline dates or go-karting or anything fun and playful. But if it's not your thing, and that includes anything, not just those type of activities, it's not your thing, do not agree to go on that date. And all you have to do is say, you know what, I appreciate the offer, but I would really love to do something like, and give him a couple suggestions to pull from. Okay? Which brings us to number 8, your place.
Dun, dun, dun. This is, again, the sex component. And also, I don't know. That's your personal space.
The guy that you just met, he hasn't really earned the right to be all up in your personal space yet.
Exactly.
He hasn't built that trust with you for a first date. There's nothing really romantic about your place for a first date. And trust me, Steph and I aren't big on what romance has to be. It's a very personal thing, and we don't necessarily follow the traditional path of what romance is, but it sure the fuck isn't at your place for a first date.
Yeah. Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought of today's show.
An adored woman lives by these 3 tenets. Number 1, above all, an adored woman knows that the universe or her higher power has her back romantically. Number 2, she understands that everything going on with him or in her dating life is 100% about figuring out what she really wants. It's a romantic opportunity. And number 3, she also knows that if it doesn't work out with him, it's because the universe or her higher power is working madly behind the scenes to bring her true love into her life. This is Jen.
And this is Steph.
Don't forget to subscribe to our show in iTunes. And if you'd like to submit a question to us, come see us at singlesmartfemale.com. And if you just want to come play around and learn more about Mantourage dating, come see us at havehimyourway.com.
Talk to you next time.